Hello everyone! In this video segment, Chris Ayers talks about his journey with cancer. He was diagnosed with leukemia on April 1st, April Fool's Day of 2005. He talks about how fitting the date of that diagnosis is given his sarcastic sense of humor. He said it just kind of made sense. Chris says that he turned this terrible experience into what he calls rocket fuel for his soul. He realized early on in his diagnosis that he had to seize every moment and that he had a choice. He did not have to succumb to cancer, he chose to rise up and overpower it. This has a really powerful application to anybody, I think. Any difficulty that you encounter in life, you can approach with the perspective of having a choice. Chris also talks about a therapeutic way that he addressed his cancer while he was in remission, and he started the Daily Zoo Project, where he illustrated an animal a day. Now, he's been doing this for about 11 years now, so he's close to day 4,000. In the process, he has produced 5 books in the Daily Zoo series, and these haven't just been therapeutic for Chris, they've helped many people who are either going through cancer or other difficult experiences. I will also have my full video conversation with Chris linked below, so check that out if you want to hear him talk about turning your passion into your career and how to deal with difficult transitions in life. I will also be releasing a podcast next week that includes more background information about this conversation and some content that I couldn't fit into these video clips. Without further ado, here is Chris Ayers on dealing with cancer. So I'd like to talk to you a little bit about how art got you through your experience with cancer. And you were diagnosed in 2005, is that correct?
Yep,
Did you?
On April Fool's Day.
That's what I thought you said, which that is, what do you make of that? That is just like...
Well, I mean, if for me, if I were to be diagnosed with cancer, I can't think of a better day to have been told those words. I'm sorry, Mr. Ayers, you have cancer. Just because I'm a bit of a practical jokester, and I kind of a smart ass and sarcastic, and so it just, it just kind of made sense, I guess. Facing cancer has probably been the single most challenging and transformative event in my life so far, I think. And it's been like a pebble being dropped into a pond, and so the ripple effect, it's just it's changed my life in a lot of ways, and it's affected aspects of pretty much every aspect of my life in some way or another. But so in terms of art, when I was going through treatment, I didn't do a lot of artwork just because physically, emotionally, mentally, I didn't have the energy and the strength to do so. In my first hospital stay, which was over a month, I can't remember doing much drawing, if at all, maybe a little bit here or there, but I was just so sick that... And sort of distracted with other things that I just didn't feel like I could, really.
Yeah.
But then as I went into further hospital stays throughout that year, and they kind of got the leukemia under control a little bit, got into remission, and then I was still going through various treatments to try and keep it in remission and get rid of it. And during those visits, I started to regain some of my strength, and the shock of my situation had started to wear off a little bit.
Okay.
And then I was able to do more drawing, and I would bring my sketchbook to the hospital.
Yeah.
And there were nights when I had trouble sleeping, and but I did have like some energy, and my girlfriend at the time, she's my wife now, she was spending every night by my side in the hospital. And so on these sleepless nights, I didn't want to turn on the light in the hospital room because she was sleeping next to me. So then I'd take my IV cart and and my sketchbook, and I'd roll myself into the bathroom and then sit on the edge of the bathtub and do some drawing and stuff just to try and get some of these ideas out. And that was just such a wonderful distraction from the situation where I was in, having all these tubes stuck in my arm, being pumped full of toxic chemicals, and and the uncertainty of my situation too. There's definitely a lot of it's a big wrestling, a mental wrestling match, an emotional wrestling match too. When you're facing cancer, it's obviously not just the physical aspect of it, but it's just wrestling with how is this going to affect my life, and
Yeah.
Is this going to be it for me? And then when I started the Daily Zoo project, that was on the 1-year anniversary of my diagnosis. So
Okay.
I was pretty much back to normal physically, at least by this time. All the treatments were done, and I was back to fairly normal strength and energy levels. But mentally and emotionally, I still had some processing to do. I had to figure out really kind of what had I just gone through this past year. So as I was realizing that, all right, there's all this stuff here that I need to kind of process and think about, I thought, well, one way to do this is to, again, go back to that friend of mine, art, and I've always loved drawing ever since I could hold a pencil pretty much, and I've always loved animals. That's been one of my most favorite subject matters to draw. And I just thought, man, I've just had a hell of a year fighting for my life. I want to give myself a gift. I want to do something a little selfish, and I'm just going to say, I want you to spend a little time each day doing something that you've always loved to do, and draw an animal. And so I created this project called the Daily Zoo, and I gave myself the goal of drawing one animal each day for a year. And it was I did at the time that I started out to do this, I didn't realize how powerful it was going to be. Very gratifying to hear that the books have provided a little bit of comfort for people going through challenging situations, whether they're facing cancer or another health issue or even something non-health related, where people will tell me that it's given them a smile on a really tough day. When they're going in for another chemo treatment, they'll take the book along, and that some of the humorous animals and just the anecdotes from my cancer experiences give them a little bit of something to laugh about. And
I have one more question for you. We'll keep you for that much longer, but it's about a quote that I stumbled across of yours where you said that cancer is like rocket fuel for the soul.
I think it's easier for me to have that viewpoint because things have worked out favorably. I'm still here, and I've had the gift of 11 years of remission, and it was definitely a challenging experience, and probably one of the toughest things that I've ever had to face. But honestly, there have been so many positive things that have come from that experience of facing cancer. Cancer taught me just how unpredictable life can be. 1 week I'm fine, I'm living my dream of working in the movies and building a successful career working in Hollywood, and I had a great girlfriend and life was good. And then a few weeks later, I'm in the hospital, tubes in my arm, I'm fighting for my life, and just completely uncertain as to, if I'm going to even see my next birthday and stuff. I've always been sort of a carpe diem type of person, seize the day. But after cancer, it was, again, that was escalated to a new level. So now it's like seize the moment. I just want to try and realize just how precious this time is. But one of the few things that you do have control over is how you choose to confront that situation, your choice, your attitude. So just that, choice and how we're going to choose to react to a difficult situation it's a powerful thing.